Hi, it's me, Daniel, and it's time for the recap of round 5 of the BCC Open. Yes, um, I finished today's game. It was a really long game, and yeah, let's have a look at a few of the positions that happened in the game, and I'll let you know later what happened. Okay, so this was the first critical position that happened during the game. So this is now in the middle game, and I had a pretty good position. I was playing white, and at the moment I'm going for a kingside attack. And here, black moved knight e4. So he realized that my attack was going through, and he was trying to block my bishop on d3 so that he couldn't attack the h7 square, right? But here it's sacrificing the what do you call that? Sacrificing the a pawn, okay? And what I did was I pushed g5. Okay, so going to open up the king side, and black took with the pawn, and here was the crucial part, right? What I should have done is I should have traded the bishop for the knight. So after the pawn takes, my knight should then take the g5 pawn, right? And from there, the knight and the queen are attacking the h7 square, okay? And white's going to be lots of problems because there'll be some sort of a king hunt, and at the least the king would be blocking the pieces, right, from helping to defend it, okay, as it moves to f8 and then to e7, right? So this was a really crucial part, and yes, you guessed it, I missed it in the game. Duh. So instead of taking the knight with my bishop, I took g5 with my knight, to back, boom, right? So the position looks a bit open for white, like white's got the bishops going, going for the black king, right? So you see they're like, wow, it looks really good. But unfortunately, because my knight on e5 is now protected by only a pawn and a rook, and black has got bishop, knight, and queen going for it, trade's going to happen, and black's pieces are going to start coming out. Okay, I checked, and then here I decided to sacrifice my g pawn. Why? Let's see. Right, so black took, which was actually a bad move. It was a blunder, and then I moved my bishop to g5. Now notice here, the bishop is not just attacking the rook, but it's covering the crucial e7 square, so the black king is not able to escape via that route. Okay, and now because there are no pawns on the f file, the rook can move to the f file and attack the king. And there's also a threat of the queen moving down to h8 to attack the king as well. So pretty good position for white at the moment. Okay, so black moves the bishop back to defend on f6. White moves the rook to f1. And then there's a check. And here, I made my, I'm at a crucial position. Okay, so basically the idea is I've got the pin on the king on f8. So I've got a threat where I can take the bishop with my rook when the pawn takes, and then my bishop goes to h6 to attack the king. Ooh, right. So looking for a checkmate or at the least in the a possibility of black having to sacrifice the queen. Okay, unfortunately, I made a blunder, right? I moved king to g2. What I should have done is I should have moved king to h1. Why? Let's have a look. So here black moves queen to g6. Okay, now previously, okay, I could have done bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes f6 check, pawn takes, and then I could move bishop to h6, checking the king. Unfortunately, because my king is on the g file, after white's queen takes on g6, there's a pin on the g5 bishop. So my moving the king to g2 was a huge blunder. I should have just moved it into the corner, right? Okay, so the game dragged on. And now, yes, you guessed it right again. Miss number 3. What I moved was I took the bishop with my bishop. But what I should have done is I should have taken the bishop with my rook, right? And after the pawn takes, my bishop takes check. Okay, and because the king has to stay near the queen, right? Otherwise, queen takes queen. Okay. Let's try. Okay, rook takes, check. Okay, if let's say king e8, I could just take g6 and I'm pinning the queen and the king. Okay, if king moves to f8, I go here, check. Queen to g8, bishop to g5 check, because there's a rook on f1, king to e8, queen takes, check, king to d7, queen to g7 check, king to d6, queen to e7 check, king to e5, and bishop to f6, checkmate. I could have finished the game off, but no, I didn't. Right, so I took my bishop, traded, and the game then continued on to an endgame, and there were some interesting positions. So for example, I had a position here where in the end game, I traded my bishop for a pawn, and I was ahead of a pawn by a pawn at that time. So I had 2 pawns for a bishop, right? And here, if I move my rook to h6, right, and had just I could have just moved my rook around depending on where black moves the bishop, and it would have been a draw, right? But I missed that. So in the end, I ended up losing. So it was a very, very long game. It took about 60 plus 70 moves, and I was totally shattered at that time. And I really pitied my opponent actually, because he's only 9 years old, right? And for him to have to sit there for more than 4 hours today It must have been really excruciating for him. Okay. But kudos to him. Like he stayed on all the way to the end. And even though I tried a few tricks um, throughout the middle game and in the end game, even though yes, I missed some of those winning positions, but also where I wasn't in a winning position, but I tried to do some sort of small tricks here and there, like 2, 3 move tricks, and he saw all of those and he was able to avoid the pitfalls I set for him. So very good player, and I think he'll be able to go very far. Okay. So that's it for today's recap. Um, it's been a very long day, and I'll be posting this video tomorrow morning. Okay. I also did an interview, and I'll also be posting the video of that interview tomorrow morning as well. It's a really, really good interview where I interviewed a blind chess player. And for those of you who don't know, yes, blind people do play chess. How do they play it? Watch the video and find out. Right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.